Someone recently left a comment in one of our videos.
Asking us to make a video as to why we didn't pursue an advanced degree.
So why are we still RNs? That's what we're going to be talking about in this video.
To me, as a mom and as somebody who ended up with student loan debt, we both had student loan debt. I just felt like, why should we get an advanced degree when we have to pay out of pocket for for a higher education? I don't know how to talk.
But there's a lot of people, they don't have to pay for their degrees.
That's true.
Yeah, so we could have gone that route too.
Okay, so I don't want to invest money and time, money towards the higher education, and I don't want to invest my time away from our family, away from our work-life balance already, which we bear, for me to pursue a degree that's not even going to pay higher.
But it also depends on where you live.
So at that time, we were living in New York.
And it also depends on the degree that you get, because nurse practitioners in New York don't make much more than the nurses themselves. And actually that applies for a lot of states, not just New York, because here in Sacramento, if you look up the median salary for nurse practitioners, it's something like $149,000 a year. But if you look at registered nurses in Sacramento make about $163,000. If you end up getting a degree as a nurse practitioner here in Sacramento, why would you leave your high-paying job to make less just because you want to have the title of being a nurse practitioner?
You know how many nurses that we know of that have NPs under their name and still work as a bedside nurse?
That's what I was just going to say, yeah. So I work in the ER with so many nurses who have advanced degrees, and they still work with us because they realize that as a registered nurse in a staffed unit that has a lot of overtime, you can just pick up additional hours and make well over $200,000 a year without even having to use your advanced degree. Haven't you seen that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yourself?
All the time. Yeah. It's rare that we see NP, because it's mostly just NPs that we work with, right? The RNs that got their NPs, they work as a staff nurse, as a bedside nurse, and most of them don't even practice and use their degree.
Don't get me wrong though.
Yeah.
I know that if we would have pursued advanced degrees, I would have found a way to make more money than the median, because you could use your advanced degree advantageously. For example, I would have opened a med spa, or maybe you work at the med spa and I would manage it.
It's all about strategy. Because I know people out there who are psych nurses. They do it. They work from home. Morgan San Diego. That's what she does. And there's also, was she also a psych NP? What's her name?
Iman.
Yeah.
She's a psych NP who made like $600,000 last year. If we would have gone the CRNA route, I think that would have been a wise choice. But I feel like we're at a stage now where I'm like, me going back, having to apply to an ICU, getting 2 years of experience under my belt. I'm 40 years old, by the way. Getting those 2 years and then going back to CRNA school just doesn't make sense for me, especially the amount of time that you have to dedicate to these programs. That would be 2 years in the ICU, at least 3 years in a CRNA program that requires you to...
It's very rigorous.
It's very rigorous. Maybe the first year you could still continue to work part-time, but that second and third year, there's no way you can have a job while you're going to CRNA school. I would not want to be in a position where I have no finances coming in for 2 years.
We prioritize work-life balance. So adding schooling to that, like, we're literally not gonna have time for our family, especially for our son, who's our youngest kid. He's only 4 right now, and we want to be there for him 24/7 as much as we could.
Yeah, because at the moment, you guys watch our videos, we work 20 hours a week.
Yeah, I don't want to give that up.
No. I make $110 an hour right now. Monica makes $142 an hour. It's not going to last us long, though, because we plan to move back to New York next year. But the fact that we make that much has allowed us to put ourselves in a place financially where we could use the additional income that we have invested towards starting a business that could be exponentially profitable.
There's no income cap. On top of that, one of the main reasons, and this is one of your, priorities that you've always wanted to do, is to work for himself. He wants to be his own boss.
It feels great. I love it.
Yeah. So imagine not having to answer to someone, not have to deal with all that stress, flexibility,
I see how hard people work with mom and pop shops, people who are like, let's say, required to be at their office in order to work. And my goal is to have a business where I can just work from anywhere in the world. Like, the business that we started is for nurses, but I'm working with software developers, managing them. I have a senior software developer, strategizing with my co-founder to meet, going to conferences to meet new people. And we're traveling, doing these things. You can't do that if you're tied to a business or a profession that keeps you in one place.
So it's not as limiting.
No. And then there's a few other things. We mentioned the salary, and it's not just in New York and in California. It's in many parts of the country where it seems like nurse practitioners are just not compensated well enough.
Which is really sad, honestly.
And CRNAs are a different story because you could work as a CRNA anywhere in the country and you would definitely be better off than any other nurse or nurse practitioner. But I should also say, if I could have repeated the whole nursing process again, I would have started in the ICU instead of a telefloor, gotten my 2 years of experience. 3 years after that, I would have become a CRNA. I've been a nurse going on 13 years. You've been a nurse for about 12
years,
almost 12 years. At this point, I could have been a CRNA for about 7 to 8 years already. And the return that we would have been able to get on our income and investments as a CRNA would have been greater than the route that we have taken.
Yeah, because
right?
we had to move to get this high of an hourly rate.
Yeah.
We had to change locations. We had to leave our family behind. So that's also limiting, right?
We have a friend who used to work with us. Him and his wife were out here. They had a baby. And he wanted to become a CRNA working in our hospital, Kaiser. And he could not get a job as an ICU nurse because they claimed that he had no critical care experience to get a job in the ICU.
So they don't train.
No.
Yeah, they don't cross-train over here, especially at Kaiser.
Yeah.
It's rare. They do, but it's very rare.
By the way, we were talking about how as a registered nurse you can get more overtime. Well, I just got a notification that they need us for overtime. So this friend of ours, him and his wife and their kids, he left to New York. But he ended up getting a job as an ICU nurse over there with no prior ICU experience. So now he's got accepted to the CRNA program. His wife ended up going to school over there to become a nurse practitioner because it makes more sense now in other parts of the country to become a nurse practitioner, because if you think about the registered nurse salaries, they are actually relatively low. And nurse practitioners can make a decent amount more than registered nurses. So she ended up going back to school, got her NP, and then she told me she's getting job offers. One of them was for I think $160,000. So it is possible to make more money as a nurse practitioner, but you got to be smart about it. You can't just expect a high-paying job to fall in your lap, because I have other nurse practitioner friends in New York who make $140,000, $135,000. Meanwhile, the registered nurses are just picking up overtime and they're making $180,000, $190,000, but they're picking up a lot of hours. Meanwhile, us here in California, especially in the northern part of California, we're making easily $200,000 if we just pick up a few hours of overtime per week. And not even that. Even if you don't pick up overtime, your rate is so high that if you just work enough hours, less than 40 hours a week, you'll still make well over $200,000 a year.
So aside from salary, there's also an appeal, getting advanced degrees, especially when you're a nurse in New York and you're bedside nurse in New York, you want to leave bedside. We don't have ratios, we don't have guaranteed rates. So a lot of the times when the nurses that I worked with in Sinai and NYP whatsoever, they advanced a degree because they just didn't want to deal with the stress of being a bedside. So that's one of my friends did. She got her NP and now she works at a downtown clinic that's affiliated with Mount Sinai. And she told me her salary, which is really, really sad, but she's a lot happier. So there's an appeal. Apparently, it's less stressful.
And I've interviewed nurse practitioners, and I know nurse practitioners who are locum nurse practitioners, meaning they're basically like travel nurse practitioners. They can make a really high wage. And one of them, I remember she was telling me they had such good incentives that whenever she would pick up one of these contracts, they would pay for her travel. So if she had to fly out from her home city to the destination city where she was going to be working, they would pay for that. They would also pay for her rental car if she needed one during her travel assignment. And they would also pay for gas, food. If she had to stay in a hotel, they would pay for her hotel stay.
What kind of NP is she?
Just a nurse practitioner.
Like a family, like a FNP?
Yeah, I forgot what unit she worked in or what specialty specifically, but I have the video in my channel. It's somewhere in there. And she wasn't the only one. I actually interviewed a few of them. And then I have also interviewed a family nurse practitioner who made well over $300,000 a year. She has her own practice. If you're smart about the way that you approach your practice, you can definitely make more than a registered nurse. And actually, statistically speaking, you would make more because you have an advanced degree than a registered nurse. You would. It's just that the way Monica and I view life, having an advanced degree for us doesn't make sense for us. It could make sense for you, but it doesn't make sense for us. Because last year alone, there was 1 month where we made almost $50,000. And we're not even CRNAs. We're not nurse practitioners. And we didn't even have to work more than our average 20 to 24 hours a week in order to earn that 50K. So
Slightly off topic.
Yeah.
I had such a bad experience with the school we went to when I pursued my BSN. And I just did not like that school. I didn't like our professors. So the thought of me back then, the thought of me going back to school, I was just like, no way, ain't no way.
Yeah.
I'm going to pursue my master's
Yeah.
because this is too much. It was so stressful.
however, I will say that our daughter is going to nursing school right now, and we've already told her
Yeah.
the first thing you're going to do when you graduate is apply for an ICU residency program for new grads, and then you're going to do your 2 years there and become a CRNA.
Yes.
Because as a CRNA, you can work in any state, any city in the country, and make well over $200,000, $300,000, and $400,000 a year.
So we're like, she's starting off, first of all, she's very young. She's going to graduate as an RN, like when she's going to be what, 22?
Yeah.
So starting off that way and then supporting her throughout nursing school. I mean, that's the thing. We didn't really kind of have that support. We had to get student loans. We were living with my mom.
Yeah, unemployed.
Yeah. So we needed to get some benefits for us to be able to like just come out of poverty alone. So we didn't start off very well to begin with.
Yeah, and if you look at, by the time this video goes out, you should be able to see the video that I posted with Sumit, my co-founder, the co-founder of our company, our friend. She lived with her mother while she was going to nursing school. Got her nursing license in India, and then she ended up moving here after she got her nursing license, and she started pursuing her master's degree after she moved here. But she was living with her mom the whole time, and then she started working as a registered nurse. The entire time she was living with her mom and her dad, like her parents, and she lived there for like 5 years. In those 5 years, she saved about $270,000. I don't know, a huge number like that. But that's the position we want our daughter to be in when she leaves our house. We want her to be set financially, because if you watch that video, you'll see how much Sumit is worth today. And every single day that I talk to her about it, she's always praising her parents and her mother, her father for working so hard in order for her to be in that position. And that's it. What about you guys, though? Who here in the comment section, please let me know. I want to know exactly who's going to be pursuing their advanced degree and why. Or if you're not pursuing your advanced degree, why are you not? So let us know in the comments. And if you want more videos like this, let us know which topics you guys want us to discuss.
Right.
Okay, bye.